Hey, in your humble opinion, what do you think the people of America like to watch the most? Is it dragons? Not anymore. Is it Henry Cavill with a sword and a wig? Is it funny vampires? Well, I think I have the answer, and the answer is... that is not it. Hold on. I don't know why I have so many papers. That's my unemployment. I know I put the answer somewhere. Oh, here it is. It's murder. You got it. If you guessed it correctly, you win the boyfriend pillow. Never feel lonely again during a quarantine with the boyfriend pillow, and you don't even have to social distance from him either, unless you're in public, due to the embarrassment of people realizing you own one. Oh, and because this is a YouTube channel, I have to tell you to like and subscribe to it, so please do. I mean, if you don't subscribe, then I just feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. If I know that you're there, subscribe, boy, would it make me feel like all this is worth it. It's worth it, right? Oh boy, do we love murder. Everything from serial killers to abuse to cults to Tiger Kings to all sorts of horrific stuff. We just love watching it. It's a guilty pleasure to say the least, and I personally cannot imagine how much money the murder business makes. But I would kill to find out. That was probably the worst joke of the whole episode, so just wanted to get it out of the way at the beginning, you know? You know. But with the abundance of sociopathic programs out there, there is one TV show that has stood the test of time. I mean, there's been a few, and I'll get to that one later. But it's the show Forensic Files that has definitely brought families together so we can all look at each other and say, wow, people sure are crazy out there. I mean, this show literally made us question if we were safe around our family and loved ones because, fun fact, they'd be the first to kill you.
Camera and keys to a Ford truck.
Oh my god, I can't believe that psycho would hurt someone so sweet and innocent like that, leaving her body on the side of the road.
Yeah, I agree. They should have burned it. Say, did you happen to update that life insurance policy of yours yet?
I did. Why do you ask?
No reason, no reason. Would you like some more tea?
Oh, I would love some, thank you.
Of course.
Investigators confronted Maria Solis.
This show is creepy and gruesome, and for some reason as kids, and still today as adults, we keep coming back to it. It has everything. Murder, mystery, crazy people, revenge, greed, justice, and science. You know, every time I see that opening with the dripping whatever that is, I can't help but think it's just some clumsy scientist that's just spilling serial killer blood all over the lab. But anyways, let's just dive right into it.
Benjamin and Erica Sifrit weren't your typical married couple.
I mean, who is? No couple is perfect. Every relationship has its quirks.
They weren't your typical burglars either.
I mean, hey, we all make mistakes. Times are tough. I mean, I myself am living off of a tiny stimulus check. You can't blame people for going to the extreme.
Never seen a crime like this where a couple just kills another couple for the thrill of it.
Okay, that might be a little bit extreme. But I mean, it sounds like their relationship is strong.
BJ fired the third shot into Josh's head. She stabbed Jeannie in the abdomen with a knife.
You know, this show has 406 episodes and they're all like this. I started watching this show when I was a child.
BJ was in the hot tub with the heads of their two victims.
Whoa, okay, so maybe we're coming off just a little bit strong in this video already. You know, almost every episode has this kind of story in it, and we love it for some reason. I mean, what is it? Is it the gruesome murders? Is it how fascinating the science is that they use to figure out who did the crimes? Is it the mystery itself? Kind of like the mystery of when someone stole my most prized possession. My childhood teddy bear. His name was Teddy Bear Barry, and I've had him since I was a kid. At least I used to. Now he's gone forever. You know, feel free to comment below and you know, just stuff that might make me feel better, you know, and like the video too. Just keep liking and commenting. Just don't stop liking and commenting until I say I feel better again. But why do people keep coming back to the show? Well, I have an opinion. Hey, I'm on YouTube and I have an opinion. Listen to me. Excuse me, I have an opinion here. Hello, I'm on YouTube and I have an opinion. In my opinion of why people keep coming back to watch this series is because of the most major factor this show has to offer. And that's that soothing yet creepy narration.
It's usually easy to figure out how a criminal enters a crime scene, but in this case, it was far from clear.
Yes, soothing yet creepy. Soothing yet creepy is also the slogan for the boyfriend pillow. Never feel single again with your cotton stuffed boyfriend that looks like it was once part of a full body until someone decided that all that extra human was unnecessary to feel love and affection. It's actually perfect for watching Forensic Files with.
But anyways, the narrator of Forensic Files, Peter Thomas, lends his soothing, dreamlike voice that carries us through every blood-stained episode. He calms our nerves while also making our skin crawl. He's like an upper downer Red Bull vodka concoction, but for watching murder.
Yeah, and according to Wikipedia, Peter Thomas was an announcer and narrator of television with a career of spanning more than 70 years, and was actually an Oscar winner for a documentary called One Survivor Remembers about the Holocaust of survivor Greta Klein. Also, upon checking out Peter Thomas's earlier work, and I can't confirm, but I'm pretty sure I've heard his voice many times in school. Hey 90s kids, you remember when in school the teacher would roll out that giant ass heavy TV with the VCR attached and you know the blue screen would be on it, and they would always have trouble working it at first for some reason as if they never used a television before, but eventually they'd get it to work. You know, there would be some kind of educational video that would come on that was made like 20 years ago, and there would just always be that voice.
Amid the horror of battle, one looks for a tiny fragment of beauty.
After 4 days of this, when you've done more tests than you can count, you and your partner, Dave Scott, get set to leave the land that's been your home and go outside.
I mean, that had to be the educational voice of my generation. You know, aside from Bill Nye, Jim Henson, Mr. Rogers, Phil Donahue, Oprah. I mean, if this is the same guy I remember, he taught us a lot.
Earth is described as a water planet.
See? Didn't know that.
Rock and roll was new, and Elvis was the king.
I mean, that's just your opinion, Peter. I myself am a Beatles man, and I might want to give that crown to a certain Sir Paul McCartney. You got any other facts to throw at me, Pete?
Gasoline was cheap, 25 cents a gallon.
You bring that up during a pandemic, Peter?
And it was pumped for you by uniformed attendants.
You know what I had to use my stimulus check for? Stamps to mail out my unemployment. Yeah, you got some nerve.
Lisa's ribs were broken and her body badly bruised before she was strangled to death.
Okay, Peter. Hey, I mean, Mr. Thomas, you know, calm down. There's no need to say stuff like that.
The first thing you see is the sun rising over the Pacific.
But it goes without saying that the man had a knack for narration up until he died at the age of 91 in 2016, where he was still recording voiceover. That is extremely impressive. But he wasn't the only eerie voice talking about mysteries during that time. There was an older, competing documentary crime show that had its own creepy narrator.
Shit. It's a goddamn waste of time.
And that theme song still creeps me out today.
And it kind of reminded me of the Exorcist theme a little bit.
You know, as if being kidnapped and murdered wasn't scary enough, you had to go and compose shit like that. Thanks a lot, Gary Malkin.
Unsolved Mysteries was a show that first aired on January 20th, 1987, 9 years before Forensic Files, which aired in 96, and covered similar stories as Forensic Files. Both shows, now owned by the company FilmRise, Unsolved Mysteries showcased more disappearances and stories of the paranormal while leaving the mysteries hung up on cliffhangers, as opposed to Forensic Files that didn't touch on the supernatural and always had a solved case in the end.
I mean, to be fair, Unsolved Mysteries would sometimes give you like an update at the end of an episode, and I suppose the show wouldn't sound as creepy if it was just called, I don't know, Solved Mysteries, or yeah, we figured it out. It was a husband, as usual. And maybe that's why I liked Forensic Files so much. There was always that conclusion. I didn't have to worry about this villain that they've built up, you know, still lurking out there. You know, the show sets up the mystery so well and points you in all kinds of directions. So at one point you might think it's the neighbor who did it because they didn't have an alibi. But then all of a sudden, the victim was friends with this guy who just got out of prison and has a history of violence. And you're thinking to yourself, case closed. Next episode. Oh yeah, this guy definitely did it. You can tell because, I mean, look at him. He's just a, what's that? We got 20 minutes left of the episode. All right, let's get a move on, boys. This ain't our guy. Or is it?
The show makes you feel like you're one of the investigators. You think you figured it out, and then you realized you didn't. I mean, it's usually the husband who did it in the end, but still, it's a ride.
Maybe it was someone's husband who stole Teddy Bear Barry from me too. And the show becomes an eye-opener to just how many people resort to murder to fix their problems, even as something as small as paying bills that they're behind. I mean, believe me, I want Disney Plus as much as the next guy, but I'm already paying for Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, HBO Max, the Peacock, Stars, YouTube Red, and YouTube Blue. So if you really expect me to afford more than that, you better believe there's going to be some bloodshed.
As the name of the show suggests, the crimes are always solved with forensics. There's always a piece of fiber, some microscopic thread left over, a tiny spot on someone's pants that's tested, and boom, you're going to prison, buddy!
So next time, wait for the person to set down their coffee before you start murdering them, because you're going to get it all over yourself, and no detective's going to believe a 25-year-old ex-felon drinks grandma's decaf brew. Yeah, according to these forensic science results, we found a drop of coffee on your pants. Is it a crime to drink coffee? It is when the same coffee brand that we found on your pants is the same coffee brand we found at the victim's residence. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. That's still not illegal. I could be drinking the same coffee. Yeah, but do you drink decaf? Oh, that's disgusting. I might have killed that grandma, but I'm not a monster. Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, hands behind your back. Okay, so here's this weirdo who ends up sneaking into a guy's apartment because he's bored. And I'm not making that up. He literally breaks into this dude's apartment and kills him, all because he was bored that day. I mean, usually when I'm bored, I don't know, argue with relatives about politics on Facebook or something, but that's just me. Anyways, he thinks it's empty and he gets caught by the guy who lives there, and of course his first reaction is to murder him. I at least would have played dumb. Oh shit, I'm lost. How did I get here? It wouldn't have made sense, and maybe I would have gotten a little bit of trouble, but I mean, look, I've been caught stealing cookies out of the cookie jar once or twice in my day, but I don't think I'd resort to this.
Hey, are you stealing cookies from the cookie jar?
I don't know.
Am I? You know what? I'm just gonna go back to my room. Good night!
After his murdering knee-jerk reaction, he decides to set the victim's apartment on fire. Twice. Once he tried to set it on fire and it failed, so he goes back and sets it on fire a second time, which seems to be the charm.
And this is what fascinates me about the show, or maybe just like forensics in general. They still found a tiny piece of thread on him from the victim's apartment with burning insulation connecting him to the scene that was set on fire twice. He set on fire twice.
And he put his jeans into the clothes hamper, which had the burned insulation on them.
I mean, it just goes to show you that getting away with murder is nothing like TV shows and movies. If TV shows were real, forensics probably would have found Walter White's mustache hair at the crime scene when he killed that drug dealer back in season 1, and it would have been over. You know, I'd have to say that killing would probably not be on my list for things I use to fix my problems. I mean, for several reasons. You know, I want to live by good morals. You know, I want a better society where I could help. And also, like, I just don't think I'm a cold-blooded killer. But lastly, getting away with murder is a lot of work. I mean, they ain't making it easy. There's always, like, blood and fingerprints and cleanup to worry about. There's always a thread. I can't keep track of all my threads. I mean, it takes a lot out of me just to pull the vacuum out of the closet to vacuum the carpet.
It's the shark.
Hey honey, do you plan on being in the room with all the carpet on the floor for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How's about reading your book in this room? You know, the one with all the tile and the unsuspicious tarp that I lay down. How's about that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable here, thanks.
You're impossible.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, what makes this show so addicting is probably just the whole shebang. It's the buildup of the mystery. It's the music, the peek into the mind of a killer, and lastly, it's how impressive the science is, where they can use it to find the smallest piece of evidence that could put a psychopath away and save lives. Oh, and we can't forget that sweet, sweet voice of Peter Thomas.
Prosecutors believe he followed Kelly home after work, and that's when Overstreet fired a wax bullet from his .22 caliber rifle.
Well, that's all I have to say about that. It's too bad forensics aren't advanced enough to find out who kidnapped Barry. The only thing I have left of him now are fond memories. And the horror I felt when he disappeared. You know, I couldn't even eat that day. I was too horrified. Well, I guess I have nothing else to do now but just mope around. And hopefully receive support in the comments that will keep my endorphin hunger satisfied. Also, it's a good thing that I took out a life insurance policy on him, so if anything were to happen, I'd be compensated immensely. Okay guys, see you later.
It was a day like any other in Los Angeles, California, when Robert's childhood possession, 28-year-old teddy bear Barry, went missing and was later found in a garbage bag on the side of a road. A life insurance policy was made just weeks before his disappearance, a policy opened by Robert himself. The forensic evidence painted a vivid picture of Robert's movements on the morning of Barry's disappearance.
So on the day that Barry disappeared, you weren't at home?
No, I was at the bank depositing my stimulus check.
Robert stated to investigators that he wasn't home, that he was at the bank.
You didn't stop for lunch on your way home?
No, I couldn't eat. I was too horrified.
You were too horrified to eat before you found out Barry was missing?
Detectives knew that was a lie. Prosecutors believe Robert arrived home with food from a local restaurant. Searching through his mail, he saw that his stimulus check wasn't going to be able to cover all of his streaming service bills, and that he would have to use some of it to purchase stamps to mail out his unemployment papers. That's when he walked into his bedroom and saw Barry sleeping. He got the idea that if he could murder Barry and hide his body, it might buy him enough time to place a life insurance policy on him before investigators discovered the body. The evidence shows that Robert entered the bedroom where he placed his bag of food on the floor, leaving a spot on the carpet from a ketchup stain found on the bag. That evidence would later be used to prove he did purchase lunch that day. Robert grabbed Barry, and a struggle ensued. The autopsy reports showed that Robert punched Barry over 40 times, leaving fibers on his hands and his clothes. Robert watched the crime scene the best he could. And put Barry's body in a garbage bag. He drove out and dumped the body on the side of the road.
Well, once we found the ketchup stain, we were able to date it back to it being spilt on the day of the disappearance. We determined that he most definitely brought home food that same afternoon. And then when we found the bear fibers in his vehicle, we knew we had him.
Robert confessed and pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. The judge ruled that Robert received no less than a fine for littering, since murdering stuffed animals isn't a real thing. The judge also stated he found this case to be a complete waste of time, and was so outraged he sentenced Robert to life in prison, without the possibility of parole.
Oh, I don't blame the judge at all. In fact, this case was a complete waste of everyone's time.
We can thank forensics for solving this case. Buy my book.
There's no such thing as a life insurance policy on a teddy bear. I don't even know why I was part of this case, honestly.
If it weren't for science, Robert would still be out there, murdering more stuffed animals. I wrote a crime book once, which justifies me being on this episode, even though I have zero connection to the case.
Another criminal off the street thanks to forensics. And more importantly, tax dollars.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit that subscribe button, because man, it would make us feel appreciated. Hope to see you on the next one. Stay safe out there.